We're running slightly ahead of schedule, which is good. So our next speaker is Iris Waikinat. Iris is primarily involved in the SURE integrity system. So SURE is the Sustainable Resource Verification Scheme. She also conducts training courses and is the contact person for technical questions from scheme participants and certification bodies regarding SURE certification. Iris initially gained many years of experience, including in sustainability certification as an auditor with an agricultural background, both nationally and internationally, and at a renowned certification company. She later worked for the scheme provider RedCert as a contact person, primarily for certification bodies on all technical and approval issues before switching to her current role with the SURE certification scheme over 3 years ago. We thank Iris for travelling to be with us today to present to you, and we hope you enjoy your trip to Dublin and your stay for the Easter weekend, and we look forward to your presentation now. Thank you.
Thanks for invitation and the chance to speak about SURE certification system. So I try to hurry up a little bit. So first of all, I would like to give you a quick overview of the world of the Renewable Energy Directive. So it started with the so-called RED or RED, you already know, which created the framework of the promotion of renewable energy in Europe, and it also set a EU target, which was once 20% by the year 2020. The RED addresses the biofuel and bioliquid market, and these biofuels and liquids should be made from agriculture, biomass, as well as waste and residues. And the RED also introduced the binding sustainability requirements, as well as the way how to calculate GHG, means greenhouse gas emission targets. And finally, it requires that all the requirements defined in this directive should be verified by an independent certification scheme, means the certification bodies behind these schemes. Then the new version of RED was written and is still valid. So the target increased, the solid and gaseous biomass has been added, expanding the sustainable criteria, especially to the forest as feedstock, has expanded, and some more criteria has been excluded regarding avoiding the ILUC. And now we are close to the 21st of May, and we are knocking on the door to entering in force the RED 3, which is a revision only, let's say only a revision of RED 2, but presents again an increase of the EU target, and also extending the scope of affected operators, as well as strengthens the sustainable criteria, especially again regarding the forest biomass, and also talking about some changes in the reporting obligations. So, summing up, all the requirements, or the most important requirements in the RED, is that renewables can only be counted towards a national target, can only be used to meet national quota targets, or can only benefit from direct financial support if these binding sustainable requirements and the greenhouse gas reductions targets are met by the companies, which are obliged to follow or to fulfill these requirements. Digging a little bit deeper in the RED defines the following biomass types. as feedstock, agriculture biomass, forestry biomass, and waste and residues. And these feedstocks are used by the market producing from left-hand side to the right-hand side biofuels, bioliquids, using then these fuels for the transport or the electricity and heat production. And at the right-hand side, these feedstocks, agriculture, forestry, and waste and residues will be used for producing biomass fuels, and these fuels are again separated in gaseous and solid biomass fuels, and these fuels are used by, for producing electricity and heat and cold. The chain of custody of the right-hand side can be covered by our system scheme REDCERT. Jean already mentioned that I was working for them before, and right-hand side chain of custody can be covered by the SURE verification scheme. Looking at the RED 3, also this was valid in a way in RED 2 and in RED, but the numbers are a little bit different. So Article 9 says that biomass fuels shall fulfill the sustainability and GHG criteria if used in installations with a rated thermal input of 7.5 megawatts. This is a reduction from the RED 2 before, using solid biomass, and in regard to biogas, it must be or should be 2 megawatts. And the companies which are addressed there are the companies that operate a biomass installation, which is within the so-called scope of application, which are the megawatts mentioned below, above, sorry, and the companies producing or delivering these kind of biomass fuels used by the obliged plants. So what are the baseline, let's say the baseline of a sustainability certification? It is required that the Commission approves such as so-called voluntary schemes, which are doing the verification of compliance with sustainability criteria as well as GHG criteria. The economic operators, the companies that are obliged to follow or to fulfill the requirements of the RED, should submit reliable information regarding the compliance with the sustainability and GHG criteria, and this information must be verified by independent auditing, which then will be carried out, as I said before, from these CBs, the certification bodies of the schemes, as well as their auditors. Who is SURE? SURE is one of these recognized by EC, by the European Commission recognized voluntary scheme, and it was created by the merge of these two strong players, which is the Bioenergy Europe and the REDCERT scheme, Sustainability Certification Scheme. The Bioenergy Europe brings into this cooperation the networking of the national association, biomass associations, as well as their members, the bioenergy companies, and also give the opportunity to have a link to or contact to the political decision makers. And the REDCERT brings into this cooperation the more than 15 years experience in the sustainability certification, for example. So SURE facts and figures. Currently we can count 5,400 scheme users, means the companies that are obliged or have to or are interested. It's a mixture of all in a certification sustainability certification. We have approved around 40 certification bodies, which are then resulting in a so-called auditor pool of 300 auditors worldwide. this is another picture to indicate, to show you the growth of the system, the scheme, the certification scheme. The green line is the increase of contracts, means sure participants, the companies which are going to have a certification under the SURE scheme or already got ones starting in 2021. And the map shows the distribution of SURE certification mainly in the European region, mostly in Germany, France, Spain, and Poland, and of course also in Ireland, and also in USA, Africa, and Southeast Asia. So coming back to SURE in more detail. So as I said, SURE can cover the whole chain of custody. The first line starting from the feedstock, which is forestry biomass, agricultural biomass, and waste and residues. Then also SURE certification can be implemented at the stage of the conversion units in the chain of custody, means biomass plants and biogas plants. And finally, also certification of SURE can be implemented at the final stage of its chain of custodies regarding the electricity generation and heat and cold. And for that, SURE is defining some kind of criteria, which is not, how to say, completely set the SURE criteria. It's always, I always say, a translation of the RED requirements. So not SURE is defining or requiring the basis, it's always the RED. So we are translating, in a way, the requirements of the RED to make them feasible and to fulfill that. Where can you read, or where can you look at if you have questions to the requirements that has been fulfilled? For example, for each operator, means the companies which are looking for certification. In our so-called scheme principles, you can find some information about how is certification working and what must be fulfilled. Here is an example how they look like. Also, we have published some technical procedures, which is additional information and explanation in more detail about, for example, mass balancing and GHG calculation. This looks like that. And also you can have a look into the checklist, which are mostly the tool of auditors, but this there you can take a brief summary from also all the requirements a company can or has to fulfill if they would like to have SURE certification. Then we also have published, and you can download the documents which are called self-declaration, which has to be used for the producers at the beginning of the chain of custody. And also we have published some country risk reports if they are available for certain countries. And these country risk records you need for the forestry sector. All this documentation is available in several languages. And before you send questions, if you would have one or some to us, we also cooperate with local partners in some countries, of which one is the IrBEA in Ireland. So first contact partner could be always IrBEA, and before you possibly send a question to us. Brief look at the SURE key requirements or sustainable key requirements. During certification, the sustainable production of biomass fuels and or energy will be looked at if this production is fulfilling the RED requirements. Also the calculation of GHG mitigation, especially at the end of the chain of custody. Then a core criterion is the traceability of documentation of data the company has to prepare, as well as the mass balancing. All these data and balances will be checked of plausibility. For example, energy produced versus biomass used for this production, and also the verification of so-called proof of sustainabilities will be checked. That means in more detail, when we are looking at the chain of custodies here, reflected by the so-called scopes, activities of a company, from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. At the stage of biomass production, the companies has to demonstrate compliance with the land-based criteria, regarding some emissions requirements, as well as requirements regarding the forestry biomass, addressing legality, forest regeneration, long-term production capacity, and so on, and maybe also, if applicable, the GHG mitigation. Then coming to the so-called first gathering point, which is also the first interface, the so-called first interface of the chain of custody, followed by an interface, in this case the stage of processing, and another interface in the chain of custody, in this case the stage of trading and logistic. All these three stages has to fulfill and to demonstrate compliance regarding and also providing during the audit documents regarding biomass origin, mass balancing of the sustainable material, as well as, if it is applicable, GHG mitigation calculation. And finally, coming to the final stage of the chain of custody, it's the conversion from biomass fuels to energy. So also this stage has to bring evidences regarding the biomass origin, has to maintain and demonstrate the calculation of mass balancing, as well as calculating the GHG mitigation, and also demonstrating or indicating the minimum efficiency co-firing cap. Again, supporting information you will find in our scheme documentation, as well in the technical guidance that we provide on our website. Having a brief look at the SURE registration and certification process, also beginning again from the left-hand side. First of all, the company interested or obliged needs to have a contract with a scheme, with our scheme, with SURE. Before getting this contract, you have to register via our website, which is this one. Then after registration, you will be you get a contract, and if this contract has been signed by both parties, you can commission a so-called SURE-approved certification body. There's also a website where you can find all the certification bodies I talked about, around 40 at the moment, and you can choose one. If you would like, or you can choose 2 or 3, and then at the end one will be commissioned by you. So if you have commissioned one, and very important to say also, and you have also got in parallel to the contract the so-called participant ID, which is very important, then the CB can implement an audit in your company looking at the activity, the scope you need the certification for. After you have passed, or the company have passed successfully this audit, the certification body will issue a certificate, and in parallel it will be also published at our website, sorry. And if you have, if both are happened, then you can start with production, trading, or distribution of these of the certified sustainable material. And in addition, if you have questions, your first contact partner could be the national the national supporting body in your country. So, summing up, in a way, so the first prerequisite is participating in the SURE system by registering at the SURE homepage, stating there the activity which has to be certified, and agreeing the SURE scheme contract. Here you can see an example of a whole chain of custody and its scopes, so-called the activities that can be audited or certified. Second prerequisite is then the audit or the implementation of the audit or the inspection in the scope. So also again, left-hand side, starting with the upstream operations, which mostly will be inspected and not that much audited. The auditing begins with the first interface in the chain of custody till the last interface of the chain of custody, which is then the energy, heat or cold producer. Also brief some keywords in summary. The scheme participant receives certification if the scheme participant meets all SURE sustainable criteria, apply a reliable mass balance system, provides meaningful documentation, and can currently explain all processes and methods to be verified. And in parallel, each scheme participant receives relevant information from their upstream biomass suppliers at their own information and passes both information to the downstream customers. And coming to the end, before reaching the end, having a brief look to the SURE certification process. It starts with the registration, followed by initial audit, certification issuance, certificate and attachments will be uploaded in our database. If they are uploaded, then automatically will be published this certification at our website by the information of validity certificate as a PDF file. The scopes are mentioned there, the type of biomass, the certification body who carried out the certification, and after at least latest 12 months, you have to repeat the certification if you're still interested with the recertification audit, certification issuance, and then the circle begins again. Thank you for your attention. And I'm looking forward to your questions.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Iris, for your presentation. And I suppose just to summarise and let you all know that the Irish Bioenergy Association, as the national supporting body for SURE, is your contact point if you have questions regarding certification. I know that then will link in with the guys in SEI who are on the verification side. That's a further process step to verify as well. So we can link all of that together for you if there's anyone in the room that wants to engage with us regarding sustainability certification of biomass. Just a couple of other points. There are some other certification schemes also available, or voluntary schemes. We know that one or two of our members have also participated or are participating in other voluntary schemes, but The one we're engaging with is the SURE system. So again, please get in touch with us if you have any questions, and we can then be the link between you and the SURE system.